Watch out, it's the warning track.
Welcome back to another episode of The Warning Track. I'm your host, Clayton McMahon. Thank you for bearing with me. I feel like I've been almost like borderline complaining a lot this week. There have been so many injuries. Thankfully, not too many, really, if any, last night. Closing carousel is kind of straightforward today, too, so shouldn't be too bad of a day. Now, Monday, I mean, considering that's 3 days worth of people potentially getting hurt or what have you, I'm sure Monday will be right back to the same thing. But, yeah, like I said, shouldn't be too bad of an episode today in terms of injuries. Matter of fact, we'll get into Tarek Skubal, who sounds like he'll be back way sooner than anybody initially thought when they heard about the loose bodies in his elbow. We'll get another prospect call up. Some people coming back from the IL, somebody potentially getting shifted to the bullpen. That'd be interesting if that really does happen. But we'll get right into it. First one of the day is Gus Varlin, who got another save for the Nationals and has looked pretty good since kind of getting the job by himself with Clayton Beeter still on the injured list. Yeah, he has 4 saves since April 12th. 2 since April 30th, and like I said, it's looked good. Gave up a run here, but still got a hold. Did have a blown save somehow. On April 25th against the White Sox, he must have let an inherited runner come in based off the stat line or an underrun. Who knows? But yeah, 3.07 ERA, 16 strikeouts across 14 2/3 innings, only 3 walks, which I love to see. As you can see, kind of gives us some contact, but other than that, he's been solid. He's still only 2.3% owned in ESPN, which just blows my mind. Oh, I never even signed in here on Yahoo. You'll have to give me a second there. So yeah, no, he's been a very good pickup. And honestly, I think it's something where he could easily just have the job for himself. Even if Clayton Beeter comes back, which there was a note today. I guess I didn't write it down. Or maybe it was yesterday. Yeah, or Tuesday. I don't remember it being that far. But yeah, it was on Tuesday. He was cleared to resume throwing off the mound. So it sounds like he's still a few weeks away easily. I guess this note says here, it's unlikely he'll be ready to return when eligible May 8th, which is today. But he should be ready shortly thereafter. I don't know. That number seems to me like if it was just Tuesday he started throwing off a mound. Granted, he's a relief pitcher, so the rehab's not as long. But yeah, I don't know. He hadn't necessarily been great. I mean, he did have 2 blown saves. Numbers were fine. A ton of walks, though. Yeah, as you can see, I'm still rostering Clayton Beeter in my ESPN league just because I was able to put him in an IL spot. But it's something where if I had to choose between one of those two, I would definitely choose Varlin at this point. And I don't even know if Clayton Beeter will really get an opportunity at all. So for anybody who was able to scoop up Varlin, I guess let's look at what I was originally going to check out. Gus Varlin is 11% owned in Yahoo, so a little better as I expected, but another big one, too, we talked about Gregory Soto on yesterday's show, and what do you know? He goes out there and does it again. Back-to-back saves in as many days. Pitched a perfect inning, 1 strikeout. Numbers, yeah, still look even more fantastic. And I think the thing that's maybe the most notable about last night is that Dennis Santana pitched in this game and came in the 7th inning. Did fine, got the hold. No strikeouts, gave up a walk. His K numbers are just way down this year. I don't remember him. Now, I know he wasn't like insanely elite, but I thought he got about a strikeout per inning. So seeing these numbers is just very surprising to me. Yeah, I mean, I guess last year, 60 across 70 innings, 2024, 69 and 71 innings. So, yeah, he's never been like a truly elite strikeout guy, but But this year is just completely tanked. I mean, 5.4 K per nine, which is just not good at all. Walking a ton of got 9 and 16 through 2/3. Yeah. Excuse me. At this point, I mean, he's only 16% rostered in ESPN. He's probably way more in Yahoo, but I would almost argue it's probably going to be higher than I think it should be. I think he's almost maybe worth dropping. 66% in Yahoo, yeah. That just doesn't seem like a good deal to me. Like I said, he hasn't necessarily been awful for your fantasy team. I mean, he still only has a 3.78 ERA. Now he has given up runs in 2 of his last 4 outings, particularly against the Cardinals on April 27th, which is probably what essentially lost him the job. Yeah, I don't know. It's easier said than done just to drop him, especially because the Pirates have just been weird with it for most of the season so far. But I mean, you almost absolutely have to have Gregory Soto over Dennis Santana at this point. What is he owned in? 32%. That just kills me. Yeah, that needs to be way higher. And then some other, these are really quick because there's really nothing to do with them. But if you look here, Cade Smith got a save last night. Riley O'Brien got on their save last night. We see Daniel Palencia. I believe that's his first one since coming off the injured list. Yes, it is. Yeah. So I think I'm more just wanted to bring it up just to show that it seems like some of the guys in the closing situations are finally just getting into a groove, settling down. Cade Smith, especially, has just been really good the last few save appearances. I mean, he's only given up 1 run since, what is that, April 7th? So, yeah, definitely got off to a rough start, shaky start, but only has 1 blown save on the year. Yeah, he's put up really good K numbers. He's up to 23 over 16 and a third, 10 saves on the year. I mean, even the ratios are starting to look pretty good kind of after that slow start. So, hasn't been walking guys, which is really nice, only 4 walks. Riley O'Brien, same thing. He's kind of had a little bit of a rough stretch. Even though he got a save here against the Dodgers May 2nd, he gave up 2 runs. Gave up 2 runs and blew a save. April 25th against Seattle, but his numbers still look really good. He only has 1 walk on the season across 18 innings, 20 strikeouts, 11 saves, ERA at 2, WHIP under 1. Yeah, I mean, his numbers still look really good. And then obviously Palencia, he missed for a few weeks. And so the way the Cubbies are rolling right now, man, having the closer on that team is, I would say, very beneficial. So yeah, Daniel Palencia, I think, is going to be a rock star moving forward. And then the last thing, nothing too crazy here. We talked about Carlos Estevez and his shoulder injury, and they came out and said it was a rotator cuff strain and that he's going to be shut down for 3 weeks. Yeah, it was literally his first rehab appearance. Yeah, at which point he may be cleared to start a throwing program after 3 weeks. At this point, just throw in the towel. I guess if you already have him stashed in an IL spot and there's really nobody else to pick up, I guess just keep him there, but there's just no way he gets his job back. And we've talked about Urseg hasn't exactly just been phenomenal, but yeah, I just don't see how it happens. Apparently, he was still dealing with diminished velocity. Maybe it was due to the shoulder, but either way, in that start was dealing with diminished velocity. Yeah, I just don't see that one. I don't see that one working out. So I don't think you have to worry about Carlos Estevez for 2026 anymore. Now, moving on past the closing carousel, another guy we talked about yesterday, Roman Anthony. The Red Sox did opt to just put him on the injured list. The one key thing to note is that it's retroactive to Tuesday. So he'd be first eligible to join the lineup May 15th, which is next Friday. So he won't miss a ton of time. It doesn't seem like, at least I guess it's just an assumption, considering they waited like 3 or 4 days before putting him on the injured list. It clearly isn't too serious of an injury. So I'd be shocked if he isn't activated from the IL Friday when first eligible. We did talk about his struggles this year. He has just been brutal at the plate. Only 5 RBIs this year. That's crazy. Um, moving on, another guy who, yeah, I feel like today's just the update on the injuries we talked about yesterday. Cole Reagans was diagnosed with pitcher's elbow, also known as this VEO here, valgus extension overload. Still doesn't seem like it's too serious. Now I know it seemed like this note didn't say. I guess the fact that they haven't put him on the injured list even after knowing this diagnosis is good. My guess is he may miss like a start. I mean, they still have him scheduled to pitch Tuesday against the White Sox, but Ethan's calling me. I look, you want to answer just so I can mess with him about the Devers trade. So for anybody who didn't watch, I made a trade with Ethan in this league. I was able to get Logan Gilbert for Rafael Devers and Victor Vodnik, and the trade was going to process Wednesday, but there were some early games Wednesday, and so I had Devers technically for one more day, and he ended up hitting a home run for me, so that was kind of funny. I guess I don't know if I should feel good about that because then I just traded him away, but even if he goes insane, I have him on one of my Yahoo teams here, so I'll still have Devers in some way. Anyway, yeah, I guess I really don't know how to feel about Cole Reagans. To me, this situation seems a little more iffy than even like what Joe Ryan went through, which was a similar situation where he exits with an arm injury. Then it seems like it's not that bad. So, yeah, in this league in particular, where I have both Reagans and Joe Ryan, I'm gonna be sweating. I'm gonna be sweating this week. So. Moving on, Spencer Jones, prospect with the Yankees, got called up. This is kind of in conjunction with Jason Dominguez being placed on the injured list with the sprained AC joint, which is very disappointing. He'd been okay. I mean, he had only 30 plate appearances since coming up, but obviously Jason Dominguez has a ton of upside, so just seeing his season get, I shouldn't say completely derailed, but yeah, seems like he'll miss a few weeks. So that's why I'm a little torn about Spencer Jones, mainly because I just don't think it's going to be a long-term thing. He is already up to 15% rostered. Now, I will say, you just look at, on paper, the tools of this guy, it's insane. Moving in the MLB top prospects. Now, he was at one point. I tried finding like the highest ranking he's ever had on this list, on MLB.com's list. Former first-round pick in 2022. Dude strikes out a ton. Like, as you can see, scouting report, a 35 grade hit tool. But he's fast, and he can actually absolutely crush the ball. 6'7", 240. Dude's a monster. I don't know how the Yankees just have all these crazy between Judge, Stanton, and him. But looking at his numbers, I mean, 2025, across two teams, 116 games, had 35 home runs and 29 steals. Like, even if players have that potential, you just don't see numbers like that in the minor leagues that much. Now, this season, in only 33 games, already had 11 homers and 7 steals. So, this crazy power speed upside. Only thing that scares me is the strikeouts. I mean, in 2025, he had 179 in 116 games. I mean, this year already has 46 across 33 games. And he walks somewhat. 58 walks in 116 games isn't terrible. But with these types of strikeout numbers, I mean, in 2024, he had 200 in 122 games. So it just really scares me that he's just not going to be able to adjust well to Major League pitching. Yeah, I mean, this talks about it here, a 35% strikeout rate, 42% swing and miss rate. That is awful. And I know, like, taller, bigger players usually have those issues, but that just seems really, really bad. Which I assume is why, despite putting up a 30-30 season, essentially in the minors, that he's not even a top 100 prospect anymore. At least I don't think he is. If he is, he's fringe. Yeah, Dax Kilby. Yeah, so he's probably like a fringe. If they had like a top 150 list, I'm sure he would be on there. Maybe. Either way, I guess it's at least worth taking a flyer on. I guess I'm trying to think if you lost like Carlos Correa, or I guess even Roman Anthony you just had to put on the injured list. I definitely think he's worth a speculative ad. I just don't think it's going to be a long-term thing unless he just absolutely rakes. So definitely an intriguing player, though. Like I said, putting up 30 seasons in the minor leagues is impressive, no matter how you slice it. So moving on, Brendan Donovan, I feel like we mentioned him a couple weeks ago, but he's expected to be activated from the IL today. Or I guess by the time you watch this, as you know, as most people know who watch, I record this in the morning. Should be activated by the time you watch this. Yeah, it seems like he was slashing 304 before getting hurt and will return to being the Mariners' everyday third baseman and leadoff man against right-handed pitching. So I'd say that's pretty good. I know that lineup scuffled a little bit. Cal Raleigh hasn't been the best. I think, how's Julio been? I feel like I haven't really talked about Julio on this show. Yeah, pretty solid. Yeah, Cal Raleigh. Yeah, still batting $175. Pretty brutal. Yeah, either way, I think that'll be a nice boost. And he's second and third base eligible. Donovan is, so literally the two worst positions in fantasy right now. So yeah, he'll be a big boost. 60% owned already. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Where did he get drafted? I cannot check with that guy. Yeah, that fantasy name makes the show a little interesting. Let's see here in Splinter. He was drafted 16th round. So yeah, I mean, you spent an okay pick on him. So, couple more guys. We mentioned. Oh yeah. Mentioned Skubal. That now, I don't know if I have quite the same take CBS, their fantasy podcast did. So the report. This is from John Heyman of the New York Post. Could return in as little as 4 to 6 weeks following surgery, to remove a loose body from his left elbow. Now, I don't know how this works. I'm not a doctor. Apparently, it was just one relatively small loose body in his elbow. I don't know. But apparently, the surgery went as well as it could have. I mean, this would put him at mid-June, mid-late June if you're hitting the 6-week timeline, and even sooner if it's 4. So I have no idea what to think about this. Like I said, the CBS folks are specifically which one of the three was it? I'm blanking. Was it Chris Towers? Yes, it was. Yeah, Chris was saying he thought this was just like a huge spin by Scott Boras, Tarik Skubal's agent. I don't really know what to think. I would say if there's any time to trade Skubal, if you are worried about it, now's the time. If there's anybody who's going to buy into this 4 to 6 week time period, I think you could take advantage of it and still get maybe not what you would have pre-injury, but pretty darn close, I would say. So I don't have Skubal in any leagues. I'd probably just hold on to him because I think I would more rather just rely on the fact that even say it does happen, I want Tarik Skubal for the last 2.5, 3 months of the fantasy season. And if it doesn't happen, then I think he still is going to come back in July, I would say. And hopefully you can just survive until then, and he'll give you a boost during the playoff run. So I would keep him, but it's definitely shocking, especially just because, I mean, Edwin Diaz is dealing with the same thing and isn't going to be back until after the All-Star break, and he got hurt 3 weeks ago. Or they did surgery, I guess I should say, 3 weeks ago more accurately. So very interesting. And then probably the last note of the day, this is just crazy to me considering how he has played, or pitched, I should say. But Bryce Miller is expected to come back next week for the Mariners. And then there are reports, this is from the Seattle Times, saying that there's consideration for either him, Emerson Hancock, or Luis Castillo to shift to a relief role. So looking at Emerson Hancock's numbers here, he's obviously been very, very good coming off the 14 strikeout game, a second. I think he's pitching today. Yes, he is against the White Sox. Compared to Luis Castillo, who obviously is a veteran, and I saw a report that he has never pitched in a relief role before. But you look at the numbers. K numbers are down, 6.29 ERA, 1.66 WHIP. I mean, yeah, based purely off performance, it would have to be Luis Castillo. Not that Bryce Miller necessarily had like the best 2025 himself. Granted, he was hurt. Yeah, I mean, coming off a 5.68 ERA, strikeout numbers were down, and he already doesn't really have the highest to begin with. 2024 was fantastic, but I will be very interested to see what the Mariners end up doing there. I guess they could also do a 6-man rotation. Because, yeah, it would be, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, George Kirby, Hancock Castillo, Miller, which is just, on paper, just an insane rotation. Absolutely insane starting rotation. But my guess is they're probably going to lean toward... My guess is it'll be either Castillo or Miller. I would just be shocked if they did it with Hancock the way he's played. But I guess you never know. I'd be interested to see what Luis Castillo's contract looks like. We'll check that and probably sign. Oh, there it was. Signed through 2027, 5 years, $108 million. Yeah, that's a decent contract. Let's see it in a little more detail. A vesting option. Option dependent on time injured between 2025 and 2027 and 2027 innings pitched. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the contract really will have a sway either way. But like I said, based off performance, it should absolutely be Castillo. And his decline the last few years has been well noted. From 2023, just put up fantastic numbers, and then ERAs basically stayed the same, but strikeout numbers have dropped, whips rose. Yeah, so maybe the beginning of the end for Luis Castillo. But that's pretty much all the time we have for today. Once again, thank you for joining episode of The Warning Track. Always glad to have you guys on. We'll see what injuries happen over the weekend. If there's anything we do know, it's that some will. So hopefully it won't be any of my guys. I've had enough injuries the last few weeks. So until then, like I said, thank you for joining another episode, and I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday.
Watch out, it's the Warning Track.